Noel Blake, lovely to see you here at the 140th anniversary dinner. What does Birmingham City mean to you, Noel?
A heck of a lot, really. It's hard to just put into words. Obviously, being a local boy and a supporter of the club, and obviously the privilege of playing for the club. It's hard to put into words, really. When I walk around and see people like Joe and Trevor, people I used to watch, and Bob Atten, and just walking into the pitch and seeing them just walking through the doors. So it's a special time for me personally,
Unfortunately, you played in an era where the team didn't have great success, but what a team it was, though, in many ways. You had a lot of talent, didn't you?
Bags of talent. I think when I look back on it, probably lacked a little bit of guidance, know-how, at that particular stage, because when I joined, Joe had just gone, Joe Gallagher had just gone, and Toddy, that side of Jim Smith had, and I was actually looking forward when I knew that I was coming across. But then I think a week before that, Toddy went and stuff like that. So we lost a lot of experience from that point of view. But as you said, the lads I played with, if you look at the games that went on and played throughout their careers, it's a lot of games.
Obviously, that team as well carried a little bit of a reputation. Was that fair?
I didn't think it was. I don't think it was. But it's like anything else. Once people give you put a label on you, it sticks. And a bit like, I worked with Ravel Morrison, for example, who came to Blues for a couple of years ago on loan and did very, very well. And people say he's this and he's that, but having worked with the kid and knowing the lad, what an absolute talent. The boy just loves football. So I just look back on it and I think bits and pieces of it were justified, but a lot of it was people people do what they wanted to do. The interesting thing is, if you look at it, none of our lads have ever said anything about it, because for far as we're concerned, nothing to say. But that's history, so to speak.
Tell us what you're up to now. I mean, a lot of people maybe don't know, you're a very, very highly valued England coach for a number of years.
Yeah, I was at the FA for 7.5 years. Obviously, a new regime came in and wanted to make some changes, and people moved on. I was one of those. So at this moment in time, obviously, having left the FA, I went to Blackpool for a short spell. Again, that didn't work out. How can I put it? People made promises that didn't materialise, and it was a bad move from my point of view. But every experience is a good experience, So I moved on, and I haven't really done anything of any note in that period of time. Been a bit of scouting here and there. Just spent 14 days in Shanghai, doing some coach education work. Great experience. So again, if I was back in full-time work, I wouldn't have had that experience at this moment in time. So do some consultancy stuff at the moment, and just looking forward to really getting back into it at the appropriate time.
Do you ever wonder one day maybe you could return to St Andrews in some capacity?
That's all the dream. Like I said many times before, I'd love to emulate what Gary's done, Gary Pendry, being a supporter, being a player, being a manager, and a coach. And somewhere down the line, that's one thing I'd like to do at some stage. But I know Gary's very well. He's a good friend of mine, Gary, and he's doing a terrific job last year. I hope that long may I continue.